There comes a day in every trader's journey where everything becomes clear, painfully, brutally, unmistakably clear. It doesn't happen in your first month. It doesn't happen in your first blown account. It doesn't even happen in your first year. It happens after you've spent enough time in the markets to realize the patterns you keep blaming on the market were never the market's fault. That day, you learn why most traders never make it. And you learn it the hard way. It starts the moment you stop looking at charts and start looking at yourself. The moment you stop asking why the market behaves the way it does and start asking why you behave the way you do. The moment you stop thinking your failures are technical and realize they're psychological. The moment you stop thinking you need more knowledge and realize you need more honesty. Most traders never reach that day. They spend their lives chasing indicators, strategies, courses, confirmations, edges, anything that gives them the illusion of control. They keep searching outside themselves for something that can only be developed inside. They chase mastery like it's a puzzle they can solve, when the truth is far more uncomfortable. Trading is not a problem to solve. It's a reflection to understand. I remember the exact moment this truth consumed me. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. There was no meltdown, no big loss, no explosion of emotion. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like the world is holding its breath. I had just closed a losing trade, not a catastrophic one, just a small clean loss. The kind of loss that should have been normal. But something about it stirred something deep inside me. I stared at the chart. Then I stared at myself. Then I stared back at the chart. And something clicked. Not an epiphany. Not a breakthrough. More like a long, heavy truth finally walking out of the shadows. I realized I had been repeating the same emotional mistake for years. Not because I didn't know better. Not because I lacked skill. Not because I was inexperienced. Simply because I was unwilling to change the part of myself that kept creating the mistake. Most traders never understand this. They keep trying to improve their trading without improving themselves. And that's why they never make it. Because trading does not reward intelligence. It rewards transformation. You can be brilliant and fail. You can be knowledgeable and fail. You can be experienced and fail. You can study charts for thousands of hours and still fail. You can memorize every textbook and still fail. But you cannot evolve emotionally and fail. Emotional maturity is the real edge. Psychological growth is the real edge. Self-awareness is the real edge. Identity transformation is the real edge. And most traders will never develop those skills, because they're not as glamorous as strategy. They don't feel productive. They don't feel like progress. They don't give dopamine. They don't give bragging rights. They don't make sense to the rational mind. But the market doesn't reward rationality. It rewards emotional stability. I've met hundreds of traders in my life. Some brilliant. Some talented. Some driven. Some incredibly skilled. And yet the ones who made it, truly made it, all had one thing in common. They reached the day when they could finally say, "The problem isn't out there. It's in here." You want to know why most traders never make it? Because that level of honesty is unbearable. Because admitting you are the obstacle feels like failure. Because changing your identity feels impossible. Because letting go of ego feels painful. Because facing your fears feels overwhelming. Because taking responsibility for every action, every trade, every emotion feels too heavy. It's easier to blame the market. It's easier to blame manipulation. It's easier to blame timing. It's easier to blame volatility. It's easier to blame uncertainty. It's easier to blame anything except the person sitting in front of the screen. And as long as you cling to those excuses, you will never grow. Trading is the most brutally fair profession in the world. It doesn't care where you come from. It doesn't care how smart you are. It doesn't care how hard you work. It doesn't care how much you study. It doesn't care how badly you want it. The market rewards the trader who has mastered themselves. The market destroys the trader who hasn't. Most traders never make it because they never cross the bridge between theory and truth. They know everything intellectually, but nothing emotionally. They understand the rules, but not themselves. They know discipline, but not identity. They know analysis, but not awareness. And then they wonder why the market feels like an enemy. The market is not your enemy. Your emotional patterns are. The day you finally understand why most traders fail is the day you realize. Failure in trading is rarely a technical flaw. It's almost always a personal one. If you fear losses, you will sabotage. If you fear uncertainty, you will hesitate. If you fear being wrong, you will chase. If you fear boredom, you will overtrade. If you fear missing out, you will force trades. If you fear success, you will self-destruct. If you fear silence, you will create chaos. The market doesn't punish you for the trade you take. It punishes you for the reason you take it. And now I want you to answer something, honestly, because honesty is the first step toward transforming into a trader who actually has a chance. What emotional pattern ruins you the most? Fear? Impatience? Ego? Avoidance? Doubt? Need for control? Need for excitement? Comment below with, "I know my pattern." Say it. Admit it. Because the traders who identify their patterns are the ones who eventually break them. And the ones who break them are the ones who make it. If this helped you, like the video and subscribe for more old trading secrets.